Gary, Clyde Hufbauer is a senior fellow and former U.S. Treasury Deputy Assistant Secretary for Trade and Investment Policy. He joins us now live from Washington, D.C. Gary, welcome and thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
In the past hours, we've seen the markets tumble in response to Donald Trump's confirmed tariffs on Canada, Mexico and China. How would you describe what we're seeing unfold? Is this the age of free trade coming to an end?
For the United States, yes. This is, well, it's shocking and almost unbelievable. But the only time we've had this in the past century was during the Great Depression, when we had the Smoot-Hawley tariff. So what Trump has done is he's torn up the agreement with Canada and Mexico and disregarded what was agreed in the World Trade Organization. And he has set the U.S. apart from one of its strongest military allies, which is Canada, and has been an ally for 100 years, since the First World War. So, as you saw, the stock market didn't like what was happening, and economic indicators in the U.S. are not good. And I think his policies will lead to inflation, which will not be popular with his supporters. But he's gone ahead with it.
And Gary, what does this mean? You mentioned his supporters. What will this actually mean for consumers in the US and for business leaders?
Well, with 25% tariffs, politically, Canada and Mexico have no choice but to retaliate. And they know which plants and which products are very sensitive politically in the United States, and they will retaliate against those factories, those states, those counties. That will be painful for employees in those places. So that's one thing that will happen. Another thing that's going to happen is that inflation, which has not gone down as far as the Fed wants. Fed wants 2%. We're approximately at 3% now, and I think it'll creep on up with these tariffs. But in addition, there will be price spikes in important goods, such as the ones you're showing in your screen there, vegetables, fruits that come from Mexico, beer. We're a big consumer of Mexican beer, and that will be very noticeable, those price spikes, and very unhappy for Americans, because that means that interest rates will stay high on home mortgages, other purchases they may make. So it's a kind of rough road ahead.
And on that as well, how is this going to play out in industry, especially the likes of the automotive industry, where the supply chain is so intertwined between Canada and the US? Are there going to be problems there?
Oh, definitely, definitely. A 25% tariff means that for some popular models, particularly pickup trucks, the kind of vehicle I drive out here in the West, the price is going to rise to about $10,000 per vehicle. I mean, that's a big number, a very big number. And the auto companies have no way of quickly escaping this. I mean, Trump mentioned they could set up all their factories in the United States. Well, you don't do that overnight. And in any event, what's going to happen to those workers in Canada and Mexico in those factories? So for the auto industry, which has been a cornerstone of free trade within North America, this is just catastrophic.
And Gary, finally, what is Trump's motivation here? And can you explain for our viewers, how is these tariffs linked to Trump's proposal to integrate Canada and Greenland to the States and reintegrate the Panama Canal?
Well, to me, it doesn't make any sense for the political objectives he's seeking. He's hoping that there will be a big surge in manufacturing production in the United States as new factories are open. And there will be some new factories. But what we know from past experience is that if you levy the kind of tariffs he's doing across the board, all products, that it kills more manufacturing jobs than it creates. It's a job killer, a factory closure. So he understands the politics. He's obviously a brilliant politician, and he's tapping into a nationalistic sentiment in the United States, blaming foreigners for everything. But he doesn't understand the economics and what his program is going to do to his own political base.
Gary Clyde Hufbauer, Senior Fellow and former U.S. Treasury Deputy Assistant Secretary for Trade and Investment Policy. Thank you so much for your time here on TRT World.
Thank you.